Welcome to the Dental Team Podcast. I'm your host, Kira Dent, and I have this crazy idea that maybe I could combine a doctor and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, biller, office manager, regional manager, practice owner, and I have a team of traveling consultants where we have traveled to over 165 different offices coaching teams. Yep, we don't just understand you, we are you. Our mission is to positively impact the world of dental, and I believe that this podcast is the greatest way I can help elevate teams, grow VIP experiences, reduce stress, and create A-teams. Welcome to the Dental Team Podcast. Hello, Dental Team listeners. This is Kira, and you guys, you are in for the best treat of your life, Consultant Takeover. That's right. Get ready. They are dropping some dynamite. Our consulting team is incredible, guys, and we are so blessed and so fortunate to have them sharing tips and tricks with you today. And as always, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time on the Dental Team Podcast.
Britt, I love podcasting with you. And again, I love seeing your face. I love that you make me laugh, and I know I make you laugh because you're laughing, so it's fine. That was not on video, so it was perfect.
I thought you were going to do a cheer at first. I do love podcasting with you, and Tiff was doing like a pump yourself up because we love to pump ourselves up, and I was just waiting for the cheer to come, but the recording was starting.
Listen, I never got to be a cheerleader. When I was in freshman year of high school, I wanted to be a cheerleader, and my boyfriend, who was older, he told me, you could never be a cheerleader. And I was like, oh, you're probably right. And I never did it. And I think I would have been a great cheerleader. And guys, don't let people talk you out of things that you want.
No, don't do it. And Tiff, you totally could have been a cheerleader. Britt in her shy days, there's no way that was going to happen.
I was much quieter and much more shy in his defense. Like I was like, I may have been able to be a cheerleader.
But still, then. Look at you now. Look at you now. It's podcast day. It's an exciting day today.
It is. And we get to get dressed up for podcast day now. So much fun.
And we get to wear DAT swag on podcast day.
I almost threw my hat on. I almost did. People love that hat. So, yeah, today is a fun day. I do love podcasting. I love it just because I think we get to chat so much more, too, because we don't ever get to collaborate and chat like this, really. We get, like, our Monday meetings, but it's not the same. So, even though we're 20 minutes apart, I say it all the time, like, it's mostly
podcasting is like dental geek nerd chatting time, though, right? We get to talk about some awesome topics to help some people out, and so, that's the fun of it.
Exactly. I love it. So, today I thought, well, actually it's like on our sequence, but I love this one and I've been talking to people about it a lot. I actually just got off a call this morning and was talking about this because this morning they said they're out of network with Delta Dental and a couple other major insurances. And they're like, gosh, it's really easy to have a diagnosis of 3 crowns and 2 fillings, and to be like, the great news is we're utilizing all of your insurance benefits towards it. But then when you get an out-of-network single-tooth crown, they're paying $250 towards your $1,200. And they're like, that's really, the gap there is really difficult. And I was listening to everything they were saying, and my job is to listen to the things that they're not saying, to listen to what's underneath and try to come up with solutions that may help. And I thought to myself, okay, yes, that is accurate, right? It is much easier to be like, we're using all your insurance benefits compared to they're only paying $200 towards $1,200. I totally agree with that. But also, how much more time are we spending talking about the problems when they've got multiple areas that need to be addressed? When they've got a big issue, these blaring things, we're diving in deeper as dental professionals and practitioners. We're in the back like, guys, you got 5 crowns to do. Like, this is a big deal. But when you've got 1 crown in the dental world, our dental brains go, it's a single tooth crown. Just do it. It's easy. It'll be fine. It's an easy thing. So we pass it off as easy and not as important as when you've got multiple teeth that need to be fixed. We're like, it's fine. It's easy peasy. One crown. So then they get up front and they're like, an easy peasy thing is going to cost me $1,000. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay, yes, I'm gonna allow the money excuse because it is an excuse, but also let's start talking about the problem more then we're talking about the solution. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh my gosh, you're right. So I call it, and this is coined by me and Kara, just, making things up as we go, but it really, really freaking works. And I've used it in so many practices, and I call it problem, solution, problem, because I think of like an Oreo cookie, right? Or you sandwich good news or bad news, right? You sandwich it. And I think of that, like, I want you to sandwich. I want the cream in the Oreo. I want that to be the solution. But the cookies, like, I'm there for the cookie. I don't know about you guys, but I'm there for the cookie.
Cookie's the best part. Come on.
The cookie's the best part. You can get, the cream is like mediocre at best, right? Fill it with a marshmallow puff. That'd be much better. But I'm there for the cookie. The cookie is what sells me on the Oreo. And if we can talk about the cookie, if we can talk about that problem, start with the problem, get that cream filling in there. What are we going to do to fix it? And then tackle on that problem again. You're starting and you're ending, and that psychology piece is really hitting home because you're focusing more on the problem that they can actually relate to than the solution. You can't relate to a crown because it's not a piece of you. It's not a part of you yet. It's not yours. You don't even own it. I can't relate to that crown. I can't relate to the filling, but I can relate to the decay that's in my mouth that you just showed me. Mm-hmm. So that was a lot of talking, Britt. What are your thoughts?
I love it. I think sometimes we feel like we're being like the bad guy, that we're bringing up that there's a problem, right? Sure. I think sometimes that can happen, and it's like, when I go to a doctor, I'm going to dentist, like, I'm coming to you to make sure that you find those problems and that I know what's there. And yes, you give me a solution on how we can get it taken care of. Yeah. But I want to make sure that, one, like, you're there as my advocate to find the things. And I think in Tiff's problem, solution, problem is making sure, yes, we're identifying the problem. Great news is we've got a solution, and let's make sure we get that problem taken care of so that we don't minimize it and the patient knows the importance, so they come back and get it taken care of.
Yeah, I love it. I like that you can summarize my rambles. I love it. Yeah, that's literally it.
And I just want to let doctors know, right? I think this is something we come across often, maybe especially with some of our doctors that are learning, or like that they're wanting to be nice and they're afraid to kind of say what's actually going on. I challenge a little bit to, like, consider, if it were me sitting in that seat, if it were you sitting in that seat, would you want to let problems wait? Would you want the problem minimized to where you don't maybe understand fully what the issue is? Or would you want them to just let you know what the problem is, make sure I know all the problems so I can take care of them as soon as possible instead of waiting until they're much bigger problems?
For sure. I love that. I like to think too, like, that same thought process of putting yourself in the medical doctor's chair. Because if I went to my dermatologist and I had a spot that was concerning, I would really hate for my dermatologist to be like, oh, it's a little weird, but, like, let's watch it and see. And all my brain does is, like, I'm just picturing the cells, like, diving deeper and deeper into my skin, like, attaching to all of these pieces, right? Like, no, if there's a problem, I need you to tell me that there's a problem. I will find a solution. If it's important enough to me, I will find the solution. Our jobs are to let them know what the problems are and give them the opportunities to accept the solution. But if I went to the dermatologist and they just focused in on the gaping hole that they're going to put into my leg by taking out the skin cancer, like, okay, but, like, the skin cancer is the problem. So if we're talking about the problem, like, I'm not buying a gaping hole in my skin, right? Or an ugly scar. I'm not buying an ugly scar. I'm buying skin cancer eradication. Like, I want that sucker out. So if I'm buying the problem and not the solution, I'm more likely to be attached to making myself healthier.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. And absolutely, like, think of it like other industries. I think sometimes we get so involved, right? Like, again, like you said, we do it every day, and sometimes we forget or we minimize things because we do it every day. But to that patient, it is important to them, and we want to make sure we're not minimizing it. And I think for doctors, like, read the room too, right? Read the room, role play out your communication. When we say problem, solution, problem, it doesn't mean that you have to, like, scare them with the problem, right? Like, connect with them as a human, come across very caring, make sure they understand what the problem is, that we do have a solution, and there is a problem that we are going to get taken care of. So we don't minimize it too much, but also, don't come in too harshly on it. Read the room, connect with your patient, make sure you're present there. If you struggle with it, take a deep breath before you walk in that room. Do what you need to do so you can be there with that patient and walk them through everything.
Totally agree. I love that. I love that. And yes, and I think focusing in on what the patient's priorities are, we talk about that a lot: cost, longevity, function, all of those pieces. Like, what is it that they're looking for? Because if you come in hot thinking one thing and you go for that, if you're going for longevity and maybe a patient's actually more concerned about immediate cost, you could lose them. Or if you're going for cost, like I'm a function and longevity person. I will find the money. I don't care where it's going to be from. I will manifest that money. But if you come in and sell me a temporary fix, I feel like it's cheap. And I'm like, I'll just wait then until I need something bigger that will last longer. Like, I don't want to do a temporary little tiny filling if I have the option to do something that's going to last much longer.
I
So read
love
the
that.
room, ask the right questions.
And make sure you do understand kind of like why they're there and what they're wanting.
Yeah.
Because something might also be a problem, like cosmetic might be a problem to one person that they view as a
Yeah.
problem and they want that problem fixed. But the doctor may not view it in the same way. So understanding their priorities, absolutely, that longevity matters. I'm the same as you, Tiff. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of people health is going that direction, right?
For
To
sure.
where we live a lot longer these days. We want to have our teeth, we want to have our health for that whole time. And so make sure you know that driving force behind it of what they're looking for, and don't be afraid to give them what they want. Even if it's not, even if you are a little more conservative, like give them what they want in the end that still aligns with your priorities and your philosophy as a doctor.
For sure. I totally agree. And I think in this day and age, and more recently in the last few years, like we've really started investing more money in our personal health and really prioritizing how we feel. And we underestimate and undervalue what dentistry means in that. And so I think, and I think on the same thought, there's a lot of dentists out there that are understanding and trying to raise more awareness with the holistic styles and the airway and all of those pieces. There's so many things that are out there, and it's starting to shift and change. And I think that people are grabbing onto it, and it's okay to do those. It's okay to diagnose. Like, it's all right. They have a problem. You have the solution. Why would you hold back? But problem, solution, problem, like just always wrap up with that problem, even if, like Britt said, even if it's a cosmetic function, right? A cosmetics thing that they want, wrap it up with that. Like, we're going to fix this one little tooth that's like slightly rotated that's driving you crazy. We can fix that with clear aligners, and we're going to do it in this office. You will not have a crooked tooth when we're done. Period. Like, whatever it is, just sandwich it. Think of that Oreo cookie. It makes your job easier. It makes your life easier. You're selling less, in my opinion. Things that I have seen happen, right? Positive outcomes of doing this style within practices has been shorter exams, higher case acceptance, happier people overall. You're spending less time and energy convincing people to do things because they're buying the problem, right? The solution to the problem. They're tied to the problem, and so you're just spending less time. So you're happier, honestly. I know you guys love connecting, and I have a few doctors that are like, I want to be in there for 20 minutes. I'm like, sure, but you don't want to be talking about their treatment for 20 minutes. You just want to connect and have a relationship with somebody. Spend all the time you want if you've got it, but don't just be hounding them with medical knowledge to try to convince them to do something. Talk about the problems that you're going to find the solutions for.
Absolutely. I'm 100% there with you, Tiff. And use your resources when it comes to identifying those problems, right? Visual goes a long ways for people when you can see the problem that's going on. And luckily, in this day and age, we have a lot of resources we can use, from intraoral photos to scans to whatever it is that you've got available. That makes it really easy for them to see what's going on, that there is a problem. Great news is we can fix it, and we'll get that problem taken care of.
Yep, I love that. I love that. So I think to wrap up with actionable pieces that you guys can implement right away to get problem, solution, problem working for you, is to make sure, like Britt just said, make sure you've got all of those pieces. You've got intraoral photos, you've got PAs up, you've got scans up, whatever it is that's showing the problem, like have that up front and center while you're talking about it. It works every single time. Make sure your team's co-diagnosing with you, that you're getting that information handed off, that they've seen it, that they've showed the picture to the patient, that they've already talked about it. And then also make sure that you're handing off with that information. So I know a lot of you are doing what we call NDTR, next visit, date, time, recare, all of those kinds of handoffs. Add that in there. Like, we're going to get this crown done for you so that you don't have a broken tooth anymore. Hand that off to your treatment coordinator, whoever's going to be doing the scheduling. Make sure that that's in there and that you're handing off the problem to that person so that it's consistent and everyone's talking about the problem plus the solution. So PAs, intraorals, scans, make sure whatever it is that you're taking is up front and center as you're diagnosing. Make sure you're getting co-diagnosis from your support team, and then also make sure that you're passing off and everyone else is passing off in their handoffs that problem. Can you think of anything else, Britt, that you want to add to our actionables?
No, I think that's awesome. I think keep it simple, right? Keep it simple for the patient. Make sure they understand what's going on. They know that there's a problem that needs to be taken care of, and they're going to get it taken care of.
I love it. Simple consistency is the key to life.
Yes,
awesome.
100%.
That's your secret sauce, guys. Go take it, run with it. Let us know how you like it. I would love for you guys to take a little snippet, like figure out how this is going to work in your practice, implement it, and then let us know how it works for you. We love hearing from you guys. Please tell us. You can drop us a 5-star review. Let us know how it works for you. Let the dental community know as well, because there are people who are listening to this and they're like, did people actually do it? Like, let them know you did it and it worked for you. They need to hear. Share this podcast with your friends and your family members. I think that it's really good for everyone to really know your team, like what are they going to do to support you in this venture. And as always, reach out to us anytime that you need at hello@thedentalateam.com. We are happy to help you with verbiage, with cues, with documents, whatever you need. We're here for you. We just want to give you our hearts and our soul. So we're here. Let us know. Can't wait to hear from you. Britt, thank you so much for being here with me today. We'll catch you next time.
Catch you next time.
And that wraps it up for another episode of the Dental A Team podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.